Good morning, welcome. It's December 11th to the BCB TDC meeting. I'm Cecil Pendergrass. I'm currently this week the new chairman of the Board of County Commissioners, so I'll be chairing the meeting this morning. If we could please call the meeting to order and have Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Cecil Pendergrass.
Here.
Councilman Listen Chet.
Present.
Anna Cronin. Here. Tony Lackey.
Here.
Jay Johnson.
Here.
Rob Wells.
Here.
Councilman Bill Stanky.
Here.
Councilman Lori Beatty. Councilman Bullock. Mayor Dan Howard.
Here.
John Lai.
Here.
Vice Mayor Holly Smith, Brian Kramer, and Bill White are excused. We do have a quorum.
Great, thank you. I think we have our other chairman in here too, Kevin Wayne. Where are you at, Kevin? There he is. I'd like to again say Merry Christmas, everybody. We could, if we have Commissioner Wayne come up here and join me for a minute. We have a special presentation for his past service to the year for the TDC Meeting. The camera has a special gift for you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Commissioner Wayne, for everything you've done in the past year. Thank you again for all your 18 years now of service, public service in the city of Sanibel and Lee County now, so thank you again. Okay. Now we'll ask for approval of October 9th, 2025 meetings. For the approval of the minutes.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion second. Any discussion? Any public comment? Come back to the council. Any discussion? Any objection? No objection. Motion carried. This time we have public to be heard. Any public here to be heard? Okay. Municipalities to be heard.
Moving right along.
Good afternoon. Good morning, actually. It's been a long day so far. Yeah. Ashley Anderson, City of Cape Coral. I just want to highlight a few things that have gone on since our last meeting. We had Cape Coral Bike Night, which you'll see in the highlighted numbers, the visits that we pulled from Placer, just to give you a little context of the attendance. Cape Coral Oktoberfest was a big hit. We think we had about 15 to 16,000 people attend those 2 weekends. Trunk or Treat, and the drone show was amazing, and that was maybe 4,000 visitors. And I say that because of the range of how Placer works. And then the Veterans Parade was a big hit as well, with about 5,000 people attending. Coming up in Cape Coral, we have 4 main things that I want to highlight so that you can share with your networks. The Cape Coral Holiday Boat Along, which is an annual event, is going to be Saturday, December 20th at 4 Freedoms Park. And it's from 4 to 9, but the boat parade begins at 6:30. And the New Year's Eve celebration and ball drop is going to be on December 31st. And this year, and I believe last year too, we had 2 different ball drops, one for small kids and families that need to go to bed early, and then another one at midnight. And we hope to see you there. And then the 41st Annual Arts Festival in Market is going to be January 10th. At 10 a.m. and then Sunday the 11th. This is going to be a big event. It's a big event every single year, so we hope to get more people to come for that as well. And then the Tour de Cape. I think last year I mentioned this, and I was expecting to be racing some of you, and so I hope to see you there as well. And that's January 23rd to 25th at Rotary Park. And then, of course, there's different various routes that take place there. And the tourism spotlight that I wish to mention is their Tropical Breeze Fun Park. They have 2 main activities. One is mini golf, of course, and then jelly ball, which I would imagine it's more like paintball without the mess. And that's open pretty much the whole week. And so that's something to do if you're coming in for, vacation or just wanting to experience something different in our area. That's on Santa Barbara Boulevard. Oh, and then I wanted to mention also that they will have free pictures with Santa on the dates and times below. And that's it. Thank you so much. And I want to wish everybody a happy holidays. Yeah.
Any other cities here to be heard? Okay, we'll come back to our Executive Director, Taylor Pygott, for your report.
All right. Good morning and happy holidays to everyone. Festive looking in here today. Thank you to the staff. And by the way, those are for you to take with you when you leave. That's your gift from us for the holidays. So don't forget to take your poinsettia when you go to TDC members. Right. September bed tax collection came in at 1.9 million. That's about a 3% increase over last year. And for the fiscal year, we landed at 46.8 million. That's up 5.8%. And you know me, I love numbers. So I was looking at how that compares to where we were in 21 and 22. And, 22 is probably not a fair comparison. I'm not even sure 21's a fair comparison. But 12% down, 12.1% down over 21, and about 29.6, just under 30% down over fiscal year 22. So interesting to see where we're doing, but the trend is upward, which is good news, and we'll show you that again in some additional slides. For October, bed tax collection was 2.68 million. That was a 40% increase, but I will remind you, we had a couple of visitors last October, so of course that number looks quite large. Next slide. So here you can see how those months stack up in comparison to since 19, the past years, and how the fiscal year stacks up. But we are building our way back to our full recovery. Next slide, then you see October there. But a really nice jump for October, even if you look at it compared to 2 years ago. Star report, occupancy continues to struggle as supply continues to increase. Occupancy at 44.2%, ADR at 117.28, and RevPAR 51.85 for September. And then October, oh, wait, we're going to show it. We'll skip over this one. You guys have it in your packet if you want to see how that looks in comparison. October, 54.1%, ADR at 136.80, and a RevPAR of 74.05. Calendar year to date, we're at 60% occupancy, 176 on the ADR, and 105, or almost 106 on the RevPAR. See the October comparison there. Key data, September, occupancy was actually down. Rate continues to go up, but you'll see in October, occupancy rate and RevPAR were all up. Next slide. And for the calendar year, vacation rentals are performing better than they were. Still not a comparison to the kind of occupancy we see in hotels, so it'll be good to see those occupancies continue to build over the next couple of years. Hotel room count, a little bit of an increase over what we shared with you last month, almost 86%. And continuing to build both, in the island communities. Very pleased to see the growth in the available rooms. You asked me, it feels like it was forever ago because we haven't had a meeting since for a couple of months, but in August you asked me for an idea of what was to come in terms of hotel development. So these are the hotels that are currently under construction. We have 2 that we anticipate coming online in 26, 3 that we anticipate coming online in 26. 2 will be early, and And apologies, Tony, we keep somehow getting the wrong name on White
it's okay.
Pelican.
No,
I don't know how many times we've corrected that, and somehow it always comes back. But
back, it's okay.
we're going back to Beachview there, right?
Beachview Villas is going to be the terminology.
And Tony, do you have a?
No, I'm hoping to get a CO from, a date for a CO, and if we can get the CO date eventually, we're hoping to get a TCO 3 weeks prior so we can load the rooms, and so when we do get the CO, we'll be turnkey, probably do a soft week. Don't have a date yet, but when I get one, I'll be happy to share it. We were waiting for some drawings to finish up on a few changes that we made, and but if anybody gets out that way and would like a tour, the architect did an absolute fabulous job with the views and stuff that we got. It's pretty sensational. Thank you.
In addition, in Fort Myers on Colonial, there's a hometown studio by Red Roof that's under construction. That's expected to be complete in early 26, 80 rooms there. And then out on Captiva, Sandy Stillwell has broken ground on the Captiva Island Inn. Several of you I know participated in that groundbreaking, and we're excited about that one. Sandy anticipates those 10 units being done at the end of 26. Everything else you see on that list will be 27. Yes, sir.
And when do they hit this list?
When do they hit?
At what stage
They have to be under construction.
under construction?
So that means earth has to be being moved.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So like, for example, at Lake Shadrow, I know they're doing site prep, right? I don't think any actual construction has begun, or at least the last time I was there, it hadn't. And the same for the Hampton Inn at the Bell Tower. They're doing site work on the ground, but soon, the buildings will begin to rise after that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, activity at the airport. Great increase in activity at the airport, both in September and October. And that brings the calendar year-to-date numbers as an increase there. Early in the year we were lagging a smidge, but now we're up over last year. So good news. Going to be a record-breaking year for RSW in 25.
Bless you.
I always skip over there. Those are just too hard to read. They're in your packet if you want to see what's going on with the media plan. As we always do at the end of the fiscal year, we provide you with an overview of tourist tax collections. Again, this is based on the information we get from the Clerk of Courts. Kevin is here and will be speaking to you in a little bit, but I do like to present this to you every year so you can see that build back of revenue over the last couple of years, but still a ways to go to get back to where we were prior to Hurricane Ian. And then breakdown by area. Again, this is as it's provided to us from the Clerk of Courts. You see the communities that can be reported. Kevin will be talking about this in detail when he presents. But you can see the breakdown of revenue by area. Of course, the real estate category contains the majority of the vacation rentals. And then included in the Lee County line is both Bonita Springs and Cape Coral. Again, Kevin will spell out all of that for you here shortly. But you can see what that looks like. And then for those of you who want to see what that looks like over the past few years, you've got 19 through 25. I know it here, but you can examine that at your discretion at a later time and really dig in to see how those numbers are coming back. But it is good to see what's happening. You see the rebound at Fort Myers Beach and at Sanibel starting to happen. Those numbers were very, very low, of course, in FY23, but building back up again in 24 and 25. And then, because we love to make it graphical, there's the pie chart that shows you how that looks. And of course, I think, that certainly brings into focus how important those vacation rentals are in that tourist tax collection. So, all right. With that, I have one other thing I want to share with you. We have a new staff member that I'm proud to introduce today, Niall Phelps. Niall has joined us at Visitor Services. I don't know if stealing is the right word. We requested her from our friends at Parks and Recreation, and we are really happy to have Niall on our team. She is originally from Long Island, New York, but she moved to Lee County as a child and has loved the area ever since. She likes outdoor activities, and we're really happy to have Niall on our team. She is pursuing her associate's degree in business management part-time at FSW, which we are, of course, encouraging her to do. But we're really happy to have her, so give her a warm welcome.
Is that it?
That is it. Amanda, when do I get my slide for Ray and Fran? Is that now? At the end. Okay. Then I'll save it for the end.
Great, thank you for the great news. Next, we have Jeff Milkey, Director.
Going now?
Yes, sir. You're up.
You got your report. You're on.
All right.
You're up to bat.
All right. Good morning, everyone. We are going to go through July through September. But first, I also, because it's the theme of the day, seemingly stealing employees from Parks and Recreation, for the third time ever, we are about to, or we have hired a new employee, and Quinn Bork is in the back of the room. Quinn. So Quinn came to us again from Parks and Recreation, was part of our athletics coordinating team, superstar in the 2 years he was there. Previous, he was with Perfect Game, so he's very much an expert in all things baseball related, and we're looking forward to getting. Thank you. Sorry, we're looking forward to getting Quinn up and running with our department. So I look forward to everyone getting to meet him. All right. So moving to July. So hotel room nights sold 25,000 in the month of July. That is certainly down from what we expect. 20,000 hotel visitors. Direct visitor spend of $10.5 million. You'll see the Perfect Game, which is traditionally the heavyweight during July, was 9 events at 21,000 room nights, 21 of the 25. A new event popped up this year, thanks in part to our partnership with Victor and the Twins, which was the Caribbean Youth Baseball Worlds. They're affiliated with Babe Ruth. They filled 2,900 hotel rooms, and happily we have rebooked them for 2026, and that was somewhat competitive. Seminole County was really gunning for this event to move up into their big 13-field facility. So we are able to keep them for next year, and then working with Fort Myers American, with the City of Fort Myers is the Babe Ruth 12 and 1600 regionals at 1,000. So I hate showing bad news, but if we go to the next slide. So this is a trend line we don't like. So we're gonna work hard. We've already started talking to our baseball partnerships. July is almost all baseball. It's travel ball season. There is some softball sprinkled in there. Most of that is our partnership with Perfect Game, and Perfect Game has grown exponentially over the last 4 or 5 years under a new ownership, and their goal is to conquer the world of baseball. So there are where there only used to be 5 or 6 Perfect Game events going on at any time during the state of Florida. Now there's dozens because every organization is playing under the Perfect Game flag. So now folks don't have to travel as far to play and be recognized in Perfect Game events. We have created a marketing strategy with Perfect Game. I've seen their Instagram posts, and the big summer event that we run is called the Baseball Championship Series. It's usually around 500 teams, and it's dropped down to around 350. So we have challenged them to make the Baseball Championship Series important again. And so their Instagram posts, their social media is basically, they're calling it now the Metal Bat World Championship. So I think next year you're going to see Perfect Game BCS really rise up again. The other thing is we had a week that was unused at one of our baseball facilities, and that's usually unheard of. And it had to do with All-Star game in Atlanta and the way all these baseball organizations had to shift and get out of the way. And if you'll remember in June, I said that June stole some July business. So that will slide back into July next year. But we're not going to allow this trend line to continue in this direction. So next year, I want to get it back to 35,000. I know Quinn does too. Quinn, again, is kind of going to be our laser-focused baseball guy, and we're going to make sure we get this number back up. Because July typically is our most impactful month of the entire year, and then usually November 2nd. This year, I think we'll find Novembers are going to be our busiest year. So, next slide. Obviously, August is always rough. 2,300 room nights through sports. Tours and visitors, 3,000. Direct visitor spend of just under $1 million. You can see the events there. We had a rugby event, baseball academy. We had netball, which most people are unfamiliar with netball, but it's an event that's heavily in the Caribbean islands and in some European countries, and they're coming in and having these training camps and these events that they're small, but they're impacting those weekends. So we hosted that at Estero Rec Center. Next slide. So you can see, even though it's not many room nights, the trend line is at least going in a positive direction. September is 8,300 hotel room nights through sports, 9,200 visitors, direct visitor spend of $3.5 million. Again, 7 of those were perfect game at 6,200 room nights, 50 and over half century softball, a gymnastics event, and South Seas Captiva Triathlon we've brought back. It was gone after COVID for a while, and we've been working with a partner who rebranded it, and it's a great event for the island on that weekend. So, next slide there. So this is kind of one of our typical Septembers. So, let's see. Before we jump into this slide, I do want to mention that in September, we not only have a Labor Day event, but we also have a Perfect Game brings in a 14 and under select festival. That is at the Hyatt, and it's the 32 best 14 and under baseball players in the United States, and they divide into an East versus West kind of format. They're challenged to raise dollars for our community, and this year they raised about $40,000 for Golisano Children's Hospital. So it's these young men who don't live here, but they're raising dollars and they're donating those funds back to Golisano. So I just want to recognize that not only is this Perfect Game bring a lot of business to our destination, but they're also trying to be good corporate partners. All right, next slide. So many of you know we hosted the Fort Myers Tip-Off the week of Thanksgiving, along with Coconut Hoops, which is also a very highly recognized basketball tournament, both men and women. Coconut Hoops is primarily at the Hyatt, and then they transferred from Hertz Arena this year, and they, for the first time, were in Alico Arena in partnership with FGCU. And then at Suncoast Arena at FSW, we hosted 8 men's teams before Thanksgiving and on Thanksgiving Day, and then 8 women's teams afterwards. I will say that this is the 8th year of it. It has grown into what we hoped it could be someday. Not only were the men's televised on FS1 and on Fox, but the women, all 8 women's teams, all 8 women's games were televised on ION Network. So we had 12 nationally televised events coming out of the Fort Myers market. But this is really the slide that kind of, I think, just kind of puts the cherry on top. And we were all just so thrilled to see this. It's the fact that on Thanksgiving Day, watching North Carolina play Michigan State, were 6.5 million viewers, the most watched basketball game in Fox Television's history, coming from our destination, seeing our tourism brand. So this is a placemaking event. This is an event that is very similar, I think, to spring training that puts our destination on the map. And it touches all corners of our community. I know Bobby's in the room, filled up with a Weston
with a big group of the team. Sanibel Harbor got quite a few. I believe the Luminary was represented with some travel packages, and again, the other tournament was down at Hyatt. But look, 14.4 million viewers at one point. So again, and this is also a testament to the partnerships that we had in place. So the Visitor and Convention Bureau really jumped in, did all of the ads, they did all of the marketing. The Fort Myers tourism brand is everywhere splashed, destination commercials on Fox and FS1. So the world got to see the B-roll coming in and out of commercial breaks. Everyone got to see what our destination looks like. Public safety really jumped in and helped us with, and I've talked to Ben and his team, thanking them, and Parks and Recreation was there with us as always, providing practice gyms and helping with barricades and all the other things. But I also want to give a special thanks to a group that's probably not in the room, was the Mighty Muscles minor league baseball team. So we had FSW, obviously junior college, on break during Thanksgiving, so a lot of their students are gone and on break. And so we, 2 years ago, pitched the Mighty Muscles, hey, we know this is out of your wheelhouse, but why don't you bring your entire team over for a week and do entrance and egress, do concessions, do security, and help raise the bar of the customer service that was being delivered in that building. And I tell you what, and I mean the pun intentionally, they hit a home run. And so they have become now an integral part of the Fort Myers tip-off, and I don't think we could do it without them with these mega teams. And we sold out 3 different nights, and we're trying to get the building cleared and then reticketed, within 2 hours. We couldn't do it without the Mighty Muscles. So if they're listening, shout out to them. And let's see, is there anything else I need to talk about? We are, going back to our report, we are ahead of last year, even though our July was down more than we wanted it to. We're still ahead of last year. We're just behind our best year ever. So hopefully if we can make up a little bit over the next 3 months, we have a chance of having a pretty significant year. So that's my report, sir.
Thank you. Any questions from the council for Jeff? Okay, thank you. And Jeff, thank you so much. And obviously your report tells us why sports tourism is so important to Lee County and the region, so thank you for that. We're going to go back to camera, or
All right.
Director?
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask Aaron Lester and eventually Charm to come up and give you our sales report for the last quarter.
Good morning, Council. I'm Erin Lester, Senior Sales Manager. Here are the year-end results for this past fiscal year's sales goals. We achieved 72% of our goal for group RFP room nights sourced and 91% of our goal for group room nights booked. This shortfall aligns with industry reports showing a continued slowdown in new meeting demand year over year. Planners are increasingly challenged by rising costs, tighter budgets, and growing uncertainty around political and economic conditions, all of which are influencing sourcing activity. Although the volume of our RFP source was down, we were close to achieving our group room nights booked, which shows we're sending good quality leads that are bookable and valuable to our hotels. We attained 67% of our goal for wedding leads sent. Our upcoming fiscal year sales and marketing plan expands integrated package opportunities, which we expect will draw stronger wedding lead production. Finally, we achieved our remaining 3 goals. Here are the group sales team activities for last quarter. I attended the Florida Society of Association Executives annual conference. Over 250 association executives were in attendance, along with 7 of our hotel partners. We were an exclusive sponsor for the Wednesday morning Leadership Executive Roundtable, reaching approximately 50 association executives in a closed-door setting, enhancing brand visibility. We have sent 6 RFPs totaling almost 25 room nights. 2,500, not 25. American Express Interaction. This show brings together the global team from American Express meetings and events and their suppliers for 3 days of meetings, networking, and celebrations. Last time we attended, we sent 8 RFPs totaling over 4,000 room nights, so we're looking forward to seeing the results this year.
Lastly, I have some great news. Our very own Jennifer Walla was one of the winners of the 2025 Travel Pulse 40 Under 40. This prestigious program recognizes and celebrates the rising stars who are shaping the future of travel. Congrats, Jen. And then that concludes my report, so if there are any questions, I'll turn it over to Charm.
I have one quick question on the wedding leads.
Yeah.
Is BCB doing anything to promote all of the VRBO and the vacation rentals that are entering that market? We're seeing an increase on catering small events that are renting vacation rentals, either one or two on the street, and bringing down 40 people staying in them.
Well,
Something you all have looked at.
I don't believe we've looked at that. I mean, that's been happening for decades, quite frankly, but you're seeing an increase, is what you're saying. All right, something for us to note, for sure.
yeah.
Good to know, good
I don't know
to
how you
know.
get to that market, but we are seeing a.
Well, I mean, I think image-wise, showing vacation, I think there's some things that can be done. It's a great point, thanks for bringing it
Most of them
up.
have found us on the knot.
Yeah, well, and we've done a big effort around the knot, as you know, Jay. All right. With that, I'm going to ask Charm to come up and update us on international activities.
Good morning. I'm Charm Evans, Global Sales Manager, reporting on the international activities for the period of July through September. The team continues to remain engaged as usual in our core markets through the travel activities, marketing initiatives, which also include some of our July product manager appreciation luncheons that we had in London, where we partnered with the Florida Keys to promote the area and discuss the ease of travel between the two destinations via the Key West Express. And the destination was also the exclusive travel sponsor for the Toronto International Film Festival as part of an activity in partnership with Toronto Life and the Hollywood North magazine. This was the second consecutive year that we've participated in this event, hosting the trade partners in media and influencers during a reception and a presentation on the destination where we highlighted the 25-26 winter arts season. Additionally, in London, we wrapped 25 black cabs with our Just Feels Right branding, and these created 24/7 mobile billboards across London where these cabs were saturating the high traffic areas such as business hubs and attractions like Big Ben. We also had the interiors of the cabs feature a call to action messaging where we had a captive passenger engagement with our destination messaging front and center. In addition to this amazing activity, we participated with Visit Florida in their inaugural UK and Ireland Florida Huddle event, where we were the signature dinner event sponsor, and we had a themed beverage inspired by the area's beauty. And we also allowed the Visit Florida president and CEO to participate and work with the mixologists in creating the Captiva Cooler, which was a drink inspired by the destination's white sand beaches and breathtaking sunsets. This evening provided a memorable opportunity to showcase the destination as a warm and welcoming and inviting area for the London market to experience. We currently have a UK, Irish, and Scottish group of travel advisors in the destination right now, and they are having an immersive experience seeing all of the various neighborhoods and everything that we have to offer, in addition to different things that they can provide and promote to their clients to entice them to come to the area. And that's all I have for my report. And if you have any questions, I'm here to answer.
Any questions for Charm? All right, thank you, Charm.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to invite Brian up to give us an update on marketing and communications.
Good morning, Mr. Commissioner, members of council. I'm Brian Ossowski, Chief Marketing Officer for the VCB. Going to provide this morning's marketing and communications update. First up, our annual meeting took place last month, November 12th, at the Hyatt Regency Coconut Point, with our theme, Growing Together. I'm super happy to report it was well attended. I really appreciate all the TDC participation that we had this year. The content was very well received, and the renovations to the ballrooms at the Hyatt is awesome. So it was a great event. We rolled out the new sales and marketing plan. Of course, we heard from our international contractors, as well as the president and CEO of Brand USA, Fred Dixon, who was our keynote speaker. TAM also presented this year's Genonia Award to Tony Westland, who recently retired from Ding Darling, certainly very well received. And we had a nice mangrove moment at the end of our event. Our friends at SCCF provided us 200 mangrove propagules. That's the new word we've all had to learn, propagules, mangrove babies, for all of our attendees to take home to foster and then plant during one of the scheduled planting events. So if you couldn't attend the meeting, I encourage you to visit our annual meeting landing page, which is on leavecb.com. You can download the presentations and check out the plan. You can also see a cool video that we shared at the meeting showing just how much our destination has grown together over the past 3 years, basically all the collective progress that we've made. I'm glad to share the video here at the end of my presentation if we determine that we have enough time to do so. A few other things shared at the annual meeting. Every year, a group of VCBers attends U.S. Travel's IPW, which is the premier travel trade show that drives international visitation to the U.S. In 2026, it's taking place in Fort Lauderdale, so all eyes are going to be on Florida. We're increasing our presence at IPW with a much larger booth space, and we have 4 partners joining us who are participating by way of our co-op program. We're hosting a pre-IPW journalist fam, we're hosting a post-IPW travel trade fam, and we're really beginning to think of this coming summer, as the summer of opportunity, because a not-so-small soccer tournament is coming up also, the FIFA World Cup, which presents a unique opportunity for us. We are just 2 hours away from Miami, and we've just learned this weekend that Miami will play host to 7 World Cup matches between June 15th and July 18th. So we are positioned to attract visitors looking for experiences beyond the stadium. In case you missed it and you want to take a quick look, here are those specific matchups. You see we have some pretty high-level teams in there with Brazil and Colombia and Portugal. So while we know the fans may want to stay close to the World Cup excitement, that schedule creates natural breaks. And so we are really 2 hours away. We're close enough for them to slip away, but far enough for them to relax and recharge and have a new experience here in Southwest Florida. To reach those fans, we've got a combination of paid and organic tactics, a dedicated landing page where we're going to showcase hotel and lodging and attraction deals, different itinerary suggestions and whatnot. We'll have email and paid social and PR, and we're really going to try to take as much advantage of this opportunity as we can. Of course, it takes place in summer, which is a big need period for us. We can still use those deals, incidentally. So if you're a lodging partner or an attraction, please reach out to myself or Leslie Ann on the marketing team. We're about to start pushing these out in a pretty big way. Also ramping up this summer, we are super proud of our new partnership with Kind Traveler. We are Florida's official first destination that is offering a guest give-back opportunity through select lodging partners. And our first 3 lodging partners who are starting this journey with us, Tween Waters, thank you, Tony, Sea Gypsy Vacation Rentals, and Sanibel Siesta on the beach. So Kind Traveler calls this the Every Stay Gives Back program, and it ensures that every stay has a donation component that gives back to local charities. Right now it's Crow and Keep Lee County Beautiful, and we love it because visitors feel more connected when they know that they're helping make a positive impact. So exciting stuff from Kind Traveler. In the short couple of months we've been live, we've already helped raise over $3,200 for those charities. Another unique opportunity has been presented to us, this one by way of the Sandcap Chamber. Sanibel, the board game, is rolling out locally as we speak, actually. As a matter of fact, we partnered with John and the Chamber on a full day yesterday dedicated to this board game. There was a panel discussion at the Sandcap Chamber luncheon by the game's creator, Elizabeth Hargrave, and the folks from Avalon Hill Games, which is a division of Hasbro. We had the group aboard the Lady Chadwick last night with influencers and our group of German journalists who were in town, and they were able to play the game featuring the lighthouse while on the Lady Chadwick looking at the lighthouse. So it was sort of a special evening, and we wrapped things up at Grandma Dot's. It's definitely a great day, and for us, it's something new for us to talk about, and it's really bringing a lot of attention, more so than I ever anticipated. John, why don't you share a couple of things that surprised us a little bit yesterday?
Yeah, absolutely. I've had the pleasure of working with the Hasbro crew since June on this rollout, and I'll tell you that I've learned a lot about board gaming, and not being a board gamer myself, I've learned that the demographic it actually plays right into our hand. I've learned that Elizabeth Hargrave is the most sought-after game designer in the world currently.
We're calling her royalty, yes.
They are. They're calling her gaming royalty. So we were in the presence yesterday of royalty for the entire day. And I've learned that this is Hasbro's largest rollout anticipation in quite a while. And so Brian asked a question yesterday if they could share some forecasted numbers with us. And while they said that they couldn't share exact numbers, they did share that we had an opportunity after the luncheon to do the Shellcast podcast. And after that time was when Brian asked that question. And they said, look, we can't share exact numbers with you, but what we're really encouraged by is since we've announced this game and rolled it out to Germany and France and Brazil, what we've seen in terms of interest has doubled our forecast in the last 6 months. And so we anticipate that this game could be the biggest game. And a lot of these execs have said, this is a career moment for us. Like, we believe that this is our highlight of our career. And so we're not taking this lightly. We're very excited about it. The game is colorblind friendly, which we didn't know. I had no idea was a thing, and apparently that is very big in the board gaming world. And then, one of the things that I think we were so excited about at our luncheon is how authentic and native this game is intentionally made. So all of the shells that play in the game, it's a board game, as Brian mentioned, that is set on Lighthouse Beach with a 3D model of the lighthouse, as you see in the photo up there on the game. Shell bags are how you play the game. So the board actually consists of a shell bag that you drop native shells into, and the scoring is done by not by how many shells you get, but the variety of shells that you get. So very authentic to a true shelling experience. The game is being made in German, French, Spanish, and English, and they'll roll out a Chinese version next year as well. It's going to be available January 15th in local stores only, so mom and pop stores, and then it will be available to big box, such as your Walmarts and your Targets, in June of next year. So really excited about it. They're putting a lot of marketing dollars behind it. There'll be signs for the boxes to be displayed on with the name of the game on it, which happens to be the name of one of our special islands. And then I've also learned that Elizabeth Hargrave, the power of marketing, right? Her grandparents brought her parents brought her, and she ultimately ended up making a game named Sanibel. So we're very, very excited about that. At the end of the luncheon, to show their commitment to not only the game but to our community, they donated a $10,000 check to SCCF to help us continue to protect the natural landscape that makes our county so special. So I want to thank Brian and Tam for your partnership on this. Last night would not have been possible without you. There was also a segment that aired on Wink yesterday that is very, very positive and was well done.
We're glad to be a part of it, and John and I were talking. If we would have scripted it or ordered up the weather, or everything. It went exactly to plan, and how often do things go exactly to plan? So it was a great night, and we're looking forward to see the momentum build on this thing. We really think we have something special here.
It's going to hit some very important international markets for us. And just one more thing, she did just come back from what they call the World Cup of board game conferences in Germany, and said that it was encouraging to them, the volume of people that walked up to her, Elizabeth, and told her of a memory that they had on Sanibel. And so she had no idea that the international reach that our community has. And so I'm very, very excited about it, if you can't tell.
Super excited. It's good stuff, real good stuff.
And just to add a little bit, not, apologies, but the game will roll out to local vendors of board games in January, correct, John?
Correct.
January, February.
Any local retailer, though.
And then for about 5 months, it will just be in what I'm going to call small businesses. Then it's going to Walmart, Target,
Amazon
in July, and then the world after that. But
the world will get it in June and July.
okay, in June and July. Okay, but just for context, they really wanted the local gamer company, shops to have it first, to create that excitement among the gamers as well. So it's going to be a really cool rollout. I like the message from them. I think, how can I say this? They're thinking big, but they're starting small, and I like that about it.
And I do have a copy for each and every member of TDC. I just neglected to bring it with me today. Yesterday was a whirlwind.
Christmas gifts are coming.
That's right. It'll be in January. Thank you.
And just one other thing I'll add about this. If you all have heard me present over the years, we like to be validated by tourism awards that we submit for some of the work, the marketing-related work or PR work that we do. Avalon Hill and Hasbro is no different. They're going to submit Sanibel. I don't remember the organization, but as John said, they were calling it like the Olympics of the gaming community. Anyway, they're going to submit it for Game of the Year. And if the game happens to win Game of the Year, they said the sales and distribution will multiply by 10. So a huge honor, right? Not only to be, for the validation, but just for the sheer distribution of the game, should it win that award, will be awesome. So stay tuned. A lot more news, I'm sure, will be coming up about the board game, again, as we build momentum.
Bill, you have a question? Yes, thank you. Is there a way that we can be provided maybe with a list of those mom and pop shops where it will be offered?
I heard them talking about that yesterday, John, like there was a retailer process that they went through.
There is, yeah. So they have to go through distributors. They can't sell direct to consumer as Hasbro. So I asked that same question. The complication is that there's multiple distributors for this game. So we would have to get, yes, the answer is yes, but it'll probably lag like 2 months behind. Very much.
Will you have that list on Sanibel Captiva?
We'll have it the second they get it. So I think March is the first time they'll have it for us. Okay. We'll have the list on Sanibel for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
The game will begin being offered when?
January 15th.
Okay.
Any other board game questions? I know it's fun to talk about, right?
Bill, did you need a couple copies?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's talk after.
Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So speaking of seashells, the PR team, I think our last update for PR was in August, so they've been hard at work the past several months. One of the things that we're doing is growing the production value and distribution of our destination podcast, which, if you don't know, is called Shellcast, a beach break for your ears. Recent episodes included an Island Hopper preview. We've had a chat with Tony Lappy about his new book. And we previewed this year's Fort Myers tip-off tournament that Jeff reported on. We secured East Carolina head coach Mike Schwartz alongside Jeff for that episode. And as John mentioned just yesterday, Jackie Parker on our PR team interviewed Elizabeth Hargrave and all the games creators at Sundial. That episode will drop later this month, and then she's also working on a January episode featuring spring training. So during Q4, the team hosted 5 journalists, 3 from the U.S., 1 from Mexico, and 1 from Scandinavia. Here are a handful of pics from those visits. Out on Fort Myers Beach, downtown Fort Myers, Terry Ward, they're out on the water with Captain Brian, the UK fishing fam out at Snug Harbor. They stopped by Tween Waters to see Tony, and our Colombian influencer Anna Milena, who was just here, visited Margaritaville and the Bubble Room out at Captiva. And then the same German press trip that was aboard the Lady Chadwick with us yesterday is here on a full group, a group press fam for the week. Here they are at Norman Love, learning all about chocolate. So we did earn a lot of coverage in Q4 in Southern Living, as you can see there, a couple of articles, as well as Condé Nast Traveler, Travel and Leisure, Forbes, and The Independent and Daily Mail in the UK. All totaled, 132 articles published for just over 2.2 billion with a B impressions. So on the marketing side of things, as you know, we've had a long and productive relationship with the New York Times, and new this year we're expanding our reach with them and doing something with New York Times Cooking. We're going to bring a taste of our sort of relaxed mindset by offering stress-free meal ideas for busy families. So for 2 months, we'll have 100% share of voice on the Easy Sheet Pan Dinners page with slideshow and digital placements, and we'll reach users on the New York Times Cooking app as well. Condé Nast Traveler we've partnered with successfully through the years as well, always an excellent fit for 3 of our target audiences. We saw an opportunity this go-around to align with their Women Who Travel podcast and their Girls Trip content. A few details about our partnership with TripAdvisor. This obviously continues to perform very well for us. We are refreshing our branded content hub on TripAdvisor. We have partners running co-op placements with us, and we are producing 2 60-second Memory Maker videos with TripAdvisor that focus on multi-gen and family travel. And then the last package I want to call out is Expedia Travel Shops. Now, Expedia is on our plan each and every year because they offer a huge reach, broad range of different products that you can invest in. This year, in addition to our always-on plan with them, we are going to partner with them on Travel Shops. This is one of their newest features within the Expedia app. So companies and creators curate packages, and viewers can look at it and say, wow, that's pretty cool, I'd like to do that. Well, Travel Shops gives them the opportunity to actually book those packages, sort of transitioning from, wow, I really like this, to, I'm going to book this. And among the many other marketing projects, the team is also working on a new, much more modern and updated visitor guide platform. We're really going to step up our game to a next level digital experience. Still not ready to come back into market with a printed guide just yet. Now, something else we did at annual meeting was to provide a rundown of some of the things that we heard from our partners during the listening sessions tour this summer, and I just wanted to call out a couple of those items. First, there is a strong desire for us to better showcase our region's arts and cultural activities. And one idea that was shared with the team was to create an arts and culture pass that we could then cross-promote to beach vacationers, which is exactly what we're going to do through our partnership with Bandwango. That's the same platform that we've been using for our Sunsaver Passport, Cape Coral Quest, Sanibel Wild Mile, and our Parks, Points, and Perks Pass. And we've just wrapped up our first quarterly arts sweepstakes. We're going to run these quarterly on our owned and operated channels. And right out of the gate, in just 6 weeks, we received nearly 2,200 entries. That's over 50 a day. The first prize package included a 2-night stay at the Luminary, some tickets to Florida Rep, and donations from a lot of other arts organizations here in and around the downtown area. Of course, our neighborhood mural project continues. Running down the list, so far now, we have completed murals on Sanibel Island, North Fort Myers, Lakes Park, Lehigh Acres, Pine Island, Cape Coral, Estero, and our newest mural is at Bat House Park on Matlacha. Sort of trying to build in these interactive features to the murals so people take pictures and then share them on social media. Sneak peek, inside scoop, what have you, our next mural will be out on Captiva, on the side of the Captiva Civic Center. Hopefully work should be completed on that project before Christmas. And then the other piece of important feedback we heard at those listening sessions was from partners in our coastal communities, saying 3 years later, perception continues to be a challenge. Visitors are still calling and asking, are our beaches open? Are our attractions open? And so we've been asked to emphasize that yes, we are open, we are vibrant, and we are ready to welcome guests. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is step up the game with our PR team. The team hosted 4 travel writers in late October who came in to specifically reiterate the We Are Open message. Now, one of these writers was Kinga Phillips, who hosts a travel magazine-style segment called I Want to Get Away. Now, this aired out in Los Angeles on KTLA, and I have the first minute or so of the story here I want to play for you. Take a quick look.
All right, welcome back. If you're looking for a tropical island getaway but don't want to break the bank, well, this one's for you.
Travel expert Kinga Phillips just got back from a beautiful destination in Florida. We always love having you, Kinga. Tell us about the islands you visited.
So I was just outside of Fort Myers, and I visited 2 islands called Sanibel and Captiva. And they are gorgeous, you guys. They are like going back in time. So these islands, 2/3 of the islands are nature preserves. So if you are into alligators, manatees, birds, lots of birds there, big place for birding. In fact, someone said the new hot girl summer is birding. And I was like, that's right, it is. Is that a Rosie at Spoonbill over there? So very much so. And they're really lovely. So if you just want a traditional beach vacation, gorgeous beaches, really, really pretty. If you want to have some adventure, if you want to bike, you want to hike, you want to kayak, you want to stand up paddle, lots of places to go because they are nature preserves. And it is also, Sanibel Island is the shelling capital of the world.
What does that mean?
It means there are seashells everywhere. I've never seen anything like it. Like if I show you photos of this, it almost looks like AI because I don't know how the ocean makes this many shells.
So this story of positivity goes on for another 5 minutes. It's a really great segment, just trying to connect, hey, all the work that the PR team does in hosting these visitors, this is the result. And we're going to continue to carry that momentum into 2026. In this last fiscal year, the team hosted a total of 66 domestic and international journalists. And again, PR is going to continue to be a big push for us. So that's what I've got for you this morning. I'm glad to answer any questions that you might have. And if you feel like we have time, I do have that Growing Together video if you would like to see it.
Here, Mayor Dan Allen.
A quick question on that. The influencer thing is really interesting. And looking at the data, is the PR team making a conscious effort to attract people? Looking at the numbers, although that was really interesting for the West Coast, it seems like there's no PR people coming or influencers coming from the strong areas, New York, Chicago, the Midwest, that are, according to the data, showing that they're the ones coming here and spending money. I get trying to attract some people, but I have not seen anything that is, because to your point, the mission should be to try to tell people that we're open, and that has been our biggest challenge so far, is people still calling saying, I hear that the beaches are still closed and you can't go on the beach, and I haven't seen anything from any local influencers in the Midwest area. Basically everything east of the Mississippi River, it seems to be where the most dollars come in for tourists, but we're not seeing anything, at least I've heard, coming out of that area with influencers trying to come down and say, yes, they are indeed open, and come down and spend some money.
Well, I'll definitely take a look more closely at that. I know that the marketing team at the VCB handles our influencers, and the PR team handles the journalists. And there's a clear line in that influencers we contract to come here, and they have a set of deliverables that we're paying for. And the journalists, of course, are coming here. We host them by way of their accommodations and their food and that sort of thing, but that's the earned media. So a little more difficult to lock in the earned media on the journalism side to always perfectly align every time. But on the influencer side, we certainly have the ability to be more strategic and target those specific areas. So I'm glad to take a closer look at that.
But I would say objectively, we absolutely try to target all the key markets. So that example happened to be Los Angeles,
Yeah.
though we do have direct flights from Los Angeles, so that's important to us. Everywhere there's a direct flight, but we absolutely are targeting all the key markets.
A great example is Brielle on our marketing team is working with Allegiant. So you've probably heard that Allegiant announced the 3 new routes now flying out of RSW. So we're working with Allegiant on identifying influencers in each of those markets. Allegiant's going to provide the flight, and the influencer is going to talk about the experience coming from that market to the Fort Myers area. So we are definitely going to be strategic when it comes to taking advantage of new markets and tried and true markets.
Well, I appreciate that. I just think even with the sports department, that could help. Boston and Minneapolis area, according to the numbers, are very high numbers that come down here. And seeing the decline, if we can get people in from them markets that are those markets that are heavy influencers to tell people that we are in fact open. It's maddening when you hear, we can't believe that there's actually a restaurant you can eat at on Fort Myers Beach. And to me, that's messaging. They're not getting the message somehow. And anything we can do to help alleviate that, I think would help both Sanibel, Fort Myers Beach, Captiva, get people down there to spend some more money.
100%. Working obviously on the Bureau on the inside, knowing how much marketing we've placed, working with, the influencers, how much social media has gone out, the earned media from the PR team. When we heard that at the listening sessions, it's something we needed to hear. I thought we were making more progress, I guess, in the last 3 years than we had from a messaging perspective. And so that's definitely something moving into 2026 that's going to be a priority for us.
One thing, Dan, talking about the marketing, obviously messaging is really unique, and it's obviously the last story that posted that morning on Instagram or Facebook or Google. That's what people see when they Google Fort Myers Beach, for example. You see something was denied, a building wasn't built, being built. Some people obviously impression is, no, they're closed. The beaches aren't, nothing being built. So when you have the positive stories out there about the area, about Sanibel, Fort Myers, and Lee County, then those stories promote throughout the network and it gets more hits. So that's what we're constantly fighting. Then we have a water crisis that hits. We have, one report about a dead fish on the beach, and all of a sudden it goes viral. And we're just constantly trying to get ahead of that. That's been historically what our challenge has always been.
And I think, the other thing we heard during the listening sessions was about loyalists. And I think working with those, as those properties and businesses are reopened, on speaking to their customer base and having them take a lead on their customer base and communicating their current situation with their customers is critical. So, that's a constant conversation with every one of those industry partners as they reopen. Are you having, how much communication are you having back to your past customers? Because you've got to say, we're now open and we're ready for you to come back. They absolutely know who their customers are. They have all their credit card data. So, which, by the way, we do not, right? So, it's that, it's a balance between what we're doing and what those businesses are doing. But we hear you loud and clear.
Commissioner, if I can just add on, I agree with your point. What I think we're seeing now, at least from our aspect, is we've had several large developments approved, but they're sitting there because there's nobody coming. Nobody wants to be first. So we've got 4 or 5 large hotels that have been approved that are just sitting there saying the market isn't right. So the approvals are there, but now the development world is saying we're not doing anything because not enough people are coming. So there's that gap now. We're stuck in that little void where approvals are done. Now they're waiting for the people to show up, and we're not getting the message to the people that we're open or that these approvals have been made and are just waiting for people to come. So we're kind of stuck in that little black hole, if you will, of approvals and not enough people to support the approvals.
It's a bit of a chicken and the egg, right? Opening doesn't mean automatically your hotel's filled. You got to do, it's a delicate balance, and that's what we're seeing in those occupancy numbers, right? More supply than demand. But it's good timing. Your question and your point comes well as we bring James up to give us the Brian, I think we're going to skip the video.
We had a question from Bill here.
Oh, apologies, but we'll bring James up and he'll tell you, yes, we have had more visitors in the last quarter than we had in the previous year. So the numbers are building, but we got a lot of gap to fill, and we know that.
Yeah, thanks. I noticed on the FIFA tournament, June and July, which obviously is a good time for us to promote, flat time for us. It talked about domestic marketing because of the U.S. attraction to soccer. Are we doing anything internationally to catch them before they get here, or through the international airlines that would be bringing those countries to watch their teams play here? Is there a way for us to apply some pressure that way to get them before they ever get here?
Yeah, it's tricky, right? Because we know that when they travel here, they're going to be looking for proximity to the games. So we thought, look, we're not hosting the games. There is a huge audience of soccer fans in the U.S., so the majority of our effort is going to be when they're here, not before they come. Although we are plugging some things in with our international contractors to help us spread the word as being a sort of a viable alternative, but it's kind of tricky based on when the matches are announced and the tickets go on sale and then their travel dates and times relative to the matches.
So I think there would be something behaviorally that we would have data around how far in advance someone makes their reservations of where they're staying and what they'll be doing and whatnot. I know most people would kind of, if they're going to be here for a week, they would probably have their week planned out ahead of time. If we can hit them while they're deciding what they're going to do before they get here, I would think that we'd have a greater opportunity to catch that international travel that comes, because I played high school and college soccer, they'll travel like crazy to see their teams play, especially in the World Cup. And so if we can catch them before they get here, that we're a part of their plan when they get here, I think we got a greater opportunity for attendance. Awesome. Thank you.
Anything else?
All right.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Give us an update on Q4. Or Q3 calendar year, Q4 fiscal year. Always confusing.
All right. Well, good morning, everybody. As Tam said, I will be covering July through September 2025, Q4 of FY25. Before I get to that, though, I did just really quickly want to thank Tam, John, Brian, and anyone else that was part of making it possible. I did have the pleasure to be part of the festivities yesterday for the Sanibel board game launch. As you might expect, maybe this isn't too hard to connect these two dots. Your data guy is a bit of a nerd, and I am into board games. So Tam and the team knew that, and they were able to secure me a spot to be there yesterday. I had the pleasure of having the game's creator herself actually teach me how to play the game, and then play a game with her and her husband. So yeah, that was special, and I really appreciate that.
We're so glad you got to do that because, of course, as most people in this room probably already know, you're the one that told me about the game because you saw the video, the pre-release video about the game being shared with some fellow gamers who were previewing it first. So
yeah.
Thank you for joining in, and I'm glad it was a delight for you.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Beans early.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know the story, I won't go into the full details, but long story short is that at the governor's conference, I kind of stole some of John's thunder and broke the news to Tam right before he was about to. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started here. As you guys are used to, first slide is the KPIs, visitation, room nights, spending, and economic impact. As we've talked about, visitation was up 763,000 almost visitors, nearly 10%, 9.7. Room nights up 6.7% at nearly 945,000. Direct spend at 643 million, up about 3.3%. The disparity there between direct spend and economic compared to the first two metrics is we did see slightly shorter stays, slightly smaller travel parties, and because of that, we saw visitor spend per day was slightly lower, but we had way more visitors. So that's where you're seeing the disparity between those. And then a total economic impact came in at just under $1 billion for the July through September quarter at 995.5 million. Go ahead and move on to the next one, which is our lodging metrics. So we'll show you there at the top is your overall. That combines hotels, vacation rentals, and RV parks and campgrounds. And then bottom left, we have hotels. Bottom right, we have vacation rentals. You can see across the board, as we've already seen, occupancy slipped, but it's key to remember that we had an 11.3% increase in supply year over year. So occupancy slipping 4.2% overall when you have an 11.3% increase in supply actually represents a pretty sizable increase in demand. So we are seeing demand strengthen. It's just tough to keep up with an 11% year over year increase in supply. And then for occupancy, we have ADR. We saw ADR was pretty strong across the board at a 5.1% increase overall year over year, and then that did put RevPAR in the positive at almost 1% up year over year. Visitor origins, as you might expect, Midwest and Northeast are still your two major regions where visitors are coming from. We did actually see the Midwest basically stay stable at right about 31% share, which with the increase in visitation did represent an increase of visitors from the Midwest year over year. We did see the Northeast pick up considerably, and you'll see why in the next slide. They went from about 19% share up to about 23% share this year. And then we also saw a slight uptick in the Southeast and a slight uptick in Florida as we saw slightly more regional and in-state visitation. And then for international, obviously we're still seeing a softening of the international market, although it is getting better. Canada saw the largest year-over-year decrease, and all international origins were down year-over-year. I've got a new slide. I don't think I've presented this one before with the map. So let me know how you guys like the map with the DMAs here. But as you can see with the legend there, I went ahead and showed any markets that had more than 1% or more of market share. New York City at the top at 7.4, which was a sizable increase. It was at 5.7% last year. And again, with the addition of the 9.7% increase in visitation, that was a massive increase from New York City, which helped to bump up the Northeast region. So that was always nice to see. Obviously, Chicago and Atlanta are always near the top as well. Then we see other big names like Philadelphia, Miami, Indianapolis. Miami had it was the second largest year-over-year increase, which was helping drive some of that in-state visitation and regional increases. And then obviously we see names that we all know like Minneapolis and Boston as we have some of our snowbirds in the area starting to come down as we head into season. And now we're only, 8-9 weeks away from the beginning of spring training. So obviously that's heading into an exciting time of year. For the visitor profile, we didn't have a ton of changes. Median age was about flat, went from 49 to 48. First-time visitors was down slightly from 30% to 25%. And then median household income was the one that changed the most. That was up from around 106,000 to around 111,000. Traveled with children was about flat, and then as I stated earlier, our travel party sizes were very slightly smaller, and our length of stay was slightly shorter as well. For influencer promotions, this is a slide that shows that at the top right there, you see 39% of visitors who recalled promotions. So we have a question in the survey that asks, within the last 6 months before you booked your trip, or before you came to the destination, did you see any ads for the destination that might have influenced you? 39% in this quarter said that they had. That was up from 38% last year. But the key thing is 62% of that 39% who said that they saw them said that they influenced their travel plans, which was up massively from 48% last year. If you're wondering, that is not normal. We don't normally see upticks that much. So that's a great sign that the marketing is not only being seen, but more importantly, that the marketing is actually converting people who might be interested to people who are actually traveling to the destination. So as you see the insight there, promotional effectiveness is rising, suggesting that marketing efforts are connecting more strongly with travelers. Next up, we have the trip planning cycle. 22% of visitors said that they started planning their trip less than a month in advance. That aligns with what we saw in terms of an increase in regional and in-state visitation. As you might expect, those that aren't coming from as far, they don't have to plan as far ahead. So nothing too out of the ordinary there, just kind of lining up two different data points that support each other. Return of repeat and loyal visitors. So as I stated before, we saw first-time visitation drop from 30% to 25%, which in the inverse means that repeat visitation went from 70 to 75%. Repeat visitation has been climbing in prior quarters as well. It's a continuing trend that we're seeing. Also, we saw 32% of visitors saying that they considered other destinations this quarter, which was down from 38% last year. So we're seeing less comparison shopping. They aren't considering as many other destinations. More of the people that are coming are set on coming to Lee County, and they're coming. Satisfaction metrics are up across the board significantly. I would say this is probably most likely due to the continued post-Ian recovery. And on a future slide, we're going to see a data point that backs that up. But as you'll see, 68% said that they were very satisfied with their overall stay. 66% said that they are very likely to return in the future. And 62% said that they are very likely to recommend it to friends or family over other destinations. Here we see satisfaction with accommodations went from 45% said that it exceeded last year up to 54% said that they exceeded this year. And then this are the concerns that I wanted to talk about and kind of back up what we just saw with it being tied to the hurricane recovery. The key points here is you see that damaged buildings, et cetera, from Ian went from 23% of visitors citing that as a concern last year down to 13%, so nearly cut it in half year over year. And then also along with that, the second largest decrease year over year was construction noise and activity, which went from 14% of visitors citing it last year to just 9% this year. And then at the bottom, kind of rounding it out, we see the percent of visitors that said nothing concerned them about the destination went from 1 in 5 last year up to nearly 1 in 3 this year. Now, lastly, I have some quotes. I just picked out a few quotes that I thought best, kind of signified the types of experiences that visitors are having in the area. So the Fort Myers area is a relaxing and beautiful place to visit, especially if you enjoy beaches and warm weather. The vibe feels much slower and more laid back compared to which makes it perfect for unwinding. The sunsets on the Gulf Coast are amazing. Obviously, anyone that's spent any time here can attest to that. Next up, it's a very relaxed area for retirees, but growing quickly and has amenities for people of any age with varying interests and hobbies. RSW makes getting here very convenient. Everyone likes different things. We bought a second home in Estero years ago and don't regret it one bit. On the RSW piece, I can personally attest to that, as I have a 2-hour direct flight in and out of here every time I come, and it's smooth sailing every time. Third, we have this is our home away from home to escape the frigid winters up north. Perfect mix of laid-back town with many big city amenities. We're here to celebrate our nephew's birthday. He's loving the water and the beach. And then finally, amazing area, especially with little kids. Their highlight was riding the miniature train. The beaches can't be beat. There are plenty of activities around here, even on rainy days. And then with the miniature train, I think that's at the South Florida Train Museum, I believe. Yeah. And then with that, any questions?
One question, you showed that of all the destinations where they're coming from way back, there.
Yep.
Do you ever do a comparison like from the previous year to see if there's a shift?
I have not created that, but I could do that very easily. So you're
interesting to me to see if some people have moved up the chart or down the chart.
Yeah.
Because I see some destinations there. I just like to know.
No, yeah, I could definitely create that and then send that over. Go ahead.
Just to add, I would say Atlanta has been a big growing area for it, but we took it on as a market of opportunity, and we've seen really strong performance there. The other thing is Florida is performing better. I think the word about our recovery is getting out to our fellow Floridians. They were holding back on coming over here for a while. Now we're starting to see, Tony, I think you would probably say you're seeing more East Coasters in your business. than you were the previous year, and I think that's what we're seeing. So I think the message is starting to get out. I think people, let's be honest, people were hesitant, and they have lots and lots and lots of choices. I mean, I know none of us want to hear that, but they do. And so, while we are recovering, they put us on a shelf for a little while, and now some of them are plucking us back off that shelf as their destination of choice. So,
yeah, I'd just like to see, we talked about going to the old ponds to fish, but I'd like to see what the new ponds are creating.
and again, I would say Atlanta would be the best example of a market that we have really, invested in, and to see how it's performed. It was our number 3 market in 24, and I suspect it will be our number 3 market in 25 as well, and growing, right? So, again, we just hosted a journalist from, talking about who we host. We just hosted a journalist from Atlanta as an example.
Right.
That's going to pay off, right?
If you do any social media or target in certain area, then you can see if there's a shift. I just think that's interesting. Thanks.
Yep. Any other? Yep. Go ahead.
A question on the source of promotion.
Yep. Let me go there.
We've been talking a lot about using influencers.
Mhm.
Where do they fall in that scope? Or are they called out at all? Is it just kind of lumped together, so it's tough to tell?
So influencers would generally fall into social media, assuming that they're social media influencers. So that would be the bucket normally, that if they saw they saw a post on Instagram from an influencer that was sponsored and brought down here, or even if it wasn't a sponsored influencer, it was just an influencer who happened to take a trip to the area and they saw that would typically fall into the social media category.
I think that's tricky, though. I'm not sure influencers necessarily are seen as an ad by most people.
Right. Yeah, that is
That's
true.
somebody who they have a personal liking of, and they want to emulate those amazing vacations or whatever it is they do. So I don't know that everybody automatically thinks an influencer is an ad.
And that's kind of my point and my question where I was headed. If we break that out at all, just to get a real ROI on the influencers and what kind of impact.
It's huge.
And
It's huge.
Which we all know, but you can't really put a number to it.
Well, let's put it this way. We are consuming more social media every single month of every single year for the last 10 years. So think about that for a minute. It's crazy, but true.
Yep. Any other questions?
Any questions?
All right, well.
Thank you, James.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Denver, do you have anything else?
No, sir. I think I'm finally done.
Well, thank you for all that good information. Next, we'd like to welcome our clerk of courts, Kevin Carnes, for a presentation to the TDC. You got 3 minutes, I'll let you know. I'm just kidding. Good morning, Kevin.
As long as you don't throw me out, Commissioner.
I know you won't take more than 3.
Yeah. The red light. Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everybody. My name is Kevin Carnes. I have the privilege and honor of serving as Lee County's Clerk of Court and Comptroller. Shortly before the meeting, I was talking to Tony about when the last time the clerk's office gave this group a presentation, and we weren't able to immediately recognize a date on that. So hopefully this presentation is informative and not duplicative. I've crammed a lot into the 3 minutes that your chair has given to me. And I appreciate all the questions that you have given Tam. So I don't really know who asked those questions, but I tried to incorporate that into the conversation. Hopefully we have some good conversation and some good ideas. And I'll stick around at the end if anybody has any one-off conversations. So this group has been doing tourist development tax for a long time. I don't think I need to go into what it is and what it's used for. But for those that are watching at home or from their offices, this is just a reminder about where the bed tax is allocated once received. And so what is the clerk's role in regards to tourist tax? We have 4 main components that we do. Of course, the big one is the collection piece. We are acting as an arm of the Department of Revenue in that regard. And so when we are collecting that money, we are also responsible for ensuring account holders are compliant with all the rules and regulations, that we are auditing individuals to make sure they're paying what they're supposed to be paying, and of course enforcing all those rules and regulations as outlined in the Florida statute and even in the county ordinance, which is 13-14 for those of you who want some light reading. to do this evening. So there are a couple of different buckets in regards to who must pay tourist tax. You'll see that word must there is underlined for a reason, but there are property owners who handle the booking themselves, of course, and then there are dealers, which are the hotels and motels and some of the RV parks and multifamily structures. Those are the individuals that by law and even by the Supreme Court are ordered to pay the tourist development tax. But the elephant in the room are where the online travel fit into this picture, and this is they can pay and collect tourist development tax, but are not required by rule or law or statute. And so those are your Airbnbs, your VRBOs. I mean, there's a whole litany of alphabet soups there, and those online travel companies are managed via a voluntary collection agreement. If you hear someone in my office say VCA, that's the acronym that we talk about. And then, of course, your property management companies, there's a lot of them in our community, are technically not required to pay tourist development tax, but they can. And so we facilitate that process pretty regularly. And so payment options is really important. And so there are a couple of different payment options that the statute allows remitters to give their tourist development tax. There are a couple of different buckets there. So when you're looking at your statistics for the collections amount, of course, there's going to be busy seasons for collecting and remitting tourist tax, but it's also based upon when the filer is remitting their tax to the clerk's office. And so they get to choose that when they are creating their account. And so here is a breakdown of the account holder statistics as they currently exist. I think hot off the press was yesterday. Tam, thank you again for your patience with this presentation. I was trying to get it to you all earlier, but I wanted to make sure that the information was up to date and accurate. So here's a breakdown of the taxpayer accounts as existed today. There's around 4,800 of them with a sub-breakdown of the prior slide, which is how they choose to pay their tourist tax. And so there's about 14,000 individual properties associated with those taxpayer accounts, and 584 of those are the dealer and commercial. So think about those hotels, motels, and RV accounts. And so moving on, here is a breakdown of where the account holders are by location in the county, and this is based upon the address of the taxpayer. So I need to reiterate here, because I know it's going to come up probably a lot in the questions, that you pay your taxes by person, not by property. So all of the information that I'm presenting to you all today is based upon the zip code of the individual that has registered to pay the tourist tax. So if you are someone that has 10 or 15 different properties and you happen to be the one person in Alva, that's where the statistic is coming from. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about properties and where they are located in the county, but most of the statistics provided by the clerk's office is done at the account holder level, and that gets tricky. There are lots of rules and statutes that prevent the clerk from disclosing personal taxpayer information, and that is punishable by a misdemeanor in the statute. And so my staff and I take a very conservative approach to what statistics we do provide the community. The joke here is that I do not want to end up in the Marcino Motel. So I'm trying to be as transparent as I can with the information that I have without violating the Florida statutes. So here are the annual statistics. This almost lined up exactly to what Tam showed you all earlier, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it. But I did want to get to your questions that you had facilitated through Tam. And I didn't put the answers on here for a reason, because they're complicated. As you all know, nothing is black and white when it comes to tourist tax. And so one of the questions came through, can vacation rental companies be required to break out their tourist development tax by zip code or municipality? That currently does not happen. And so the way that I'm framing this question is, can they versus should they? The answer to the first part, can they? Possibly. I'd have to work with the county attorney's office to kind of determine whether we need to move in that direction. But just because we can doesn't mean we should. There are some rules and regulations about that, but I do think it is a valuable piece of data to look at when it comes to the tourist development tax. The second question was, how close are some of the municipalities in regards to being reported separately here? And this is a more complex and nuanced question because of how the statute is worded in regards to what I can share that may or may not disclose personal taxpayer information. So a lot of the statistics that you see on the clerk's website have been that way for a very long time. I've talked to Dave Harner about changing the statistics before. We are currently open to that idea. If there is a better way to break out and slice and dice the statistics, that is certainly something we can consider. But we have to remember that it's by taxpayer account, not by location. There's a lot of rules about that. So moving on to some other common questions. We had some questions about the vacation rental companies and if they're paying their tourist development tax. It's important to note that your companies that are governed by the VCA, that voluntary collection agreement that I mentioned before, they remit their tax either on a monthly or quarterly basis, just like they do any other dealer, and that information is one payment for all of the company or all of the properties that they potentially rented to in that particular reporting month. And so because I don't have the zip code information or the municipality information, that goes into one big bucket, which we'll get to the statistics. It is not broken out by the zip code or the municipality because we do not have that information from the online travel company or the property management company. And so is there a way to verify that? I think that's another complex and nuanced question that I don't think I can sit up here and kind of, it would take me longer than the 3 minutes that I have to give the presentation. Let's say it that way. And so then the final question that we, how can the city and the counties best use third-party data to ensure short-term rentals are collecting and submitting the bed tax? That's another complex question. I think we all are in the best interest of Lee County, and there's multiple ideas that we can put our heads together on. And just because we can do something doesn't mean we shouldn't or should do it. So I'm open to ideas on how we best leverage a tourism market for the betterment of Lee County. Compliance information. So that first part was a lot on the collection side of it. I have about 6 or 7 staff members that are solely focused on tourist tax. Half of that team does the collection part. That's making sure that people register, people pay, that we have all the paperwork. Then you have a compliance section, which is what happens when you don't make your payment. And the rules and the statutes give the clerk's office a lot of tools in order to enforce the tourist tax to make sure that people are paying. So here's a lot of administrative steps. I'm not going to go into this in detail, but we give lots of notices to people. And at the end of the day, if you're not going to pay your tourist tax, the clerk's office has the ability to put a tax warrant on your property and to even seize information in your bank accounts. So we have a lot of ways to ensure people pay their tourist tax when we are made aware that they're not paying their tourist tax. So switching gears to the audit side, so that's actually going to make sure that people are paying what they should be paying. Here are some statistics for you all. For the last couple of fiscal years, we do audits on individual accounts, on hotels and motels and property management companies. And so we actually do a bit of work to recover some additional revenue coming in through our audit enforcement. So we have a very robust process to make sure that people are providing us the records that we need in order to determine whether they paid the correct tourist tax, and then basically bill them, I guess is the easiest way to say, once we figure out that there was a gap in what they paid versus what they should have paid. And again, if they don't pay what was ordered, we can go back to that enforcement slide and say, hey, listen, here's your notice, and at the end of the day, we can put a tax lien on the property if we get there. All of our statistics that I've shared with you all today is located on the Clerk of Court's website. We have a page specifically dedicated to tourist tax. Here's a view of it. Just remember that how we present those is a very nuanced way of sharing the information based upon the statute. If we have ideas on how to change that to better serve this council or our community, I'm certainly open to that conversation. So important considerations, just as we're thinking about how tourist tax is collected, enforced, and audited, we have to remember that this is all by account type and account location, not the property itself. There's probably a way that we can do that, but the system that we use to manage tourist tax information and data is pretty antiquated. I do believe that we need to modernize that system, and so that's something that going into next budget year, I'm going to be looking at to determine whether we can get them to do the Tourist Tax 2.0. We've been using this system for the better part of, I think, 20 years. So I do think it's time to look at that system and make sure that it's meeting our needs today. And with a new system might come new features that will give us the data that we're looking for. Online travel companies are currently not giving us the taxpayer information along with their payments. I think that's something that's going to be an area of focus for me going into the next year. I think that's something we can probably do a little bit differently. And then, of course, taxes are paid at different times of the year, but the revenues are still given to your Board of County Commissioners on a monthly basis. And you get lots of stats in regards to what is collected and how that money is spent. So if someone in the room or someone in the community has a suspicion that someone is not paying their tourist tax, we do have an Inspector General hotline that allows the clerk's office to go in and do an investigation to make sure that they're in compliance with the county ordinance and that they're paying what they need to pay. So if a couple of our municipalities have their own local ordinances, if you had a question about whether someone was not paying their tourist tax, that is not something that we can tell the person. So if someone was to say, hey, is Kevin Karn paying their tourist tax, the statute prevents me from giving you that answer. But what it does allow me to do is go do an investigation into that individual taxpayer to ensure that they're A, paying, and B, paying the right amount. So you can submit that tip, and we will do a thorough investigation. But please know, you're not going to know the outcome of that, and that's because of the limitations in the statute. And so you will make a tip. We may or may not do an investigation, but you will never know the outcome. Just know that the person at the end of the day will be in compliance with the statute and the ordinance as written. And that is live. We do tourist tax investigations pretty regularly and pretty often. So with that, Mr. Chair, I'm slightly over my 3 minutes, but I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be here today and the work that you're doing on behalf of Lee County. I'm here for any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Kevin. I was joking about the 3 minutes, as you know. But
Yes, sir.
I'm glad the last thing you showed with the hotline, I'm glad you also had on there, submitter can be anonymous, because in our world, code enforcement, if you report something, a code violation, you have to give your information. So this is nice, so people will be more upfront in making complaints and questions. So, any questions? Yes, sir.
Kevin, under that hotline, is there a whistleblower? I hate to use the word reward, but
did you say reward?
Correct. So, in a whistleblower statute, where they get 25% of the recovery.
No, sir.
It's revenue.
This is not Crime Stoppers. There is no reward. This is literally out of the goodness of our hearts of doing the right thing by following the laws. So no reward. Good question, though.
That sounds like a Cape Coral question. Okay, Bill, go ahead. You got another one.
Well, now you'll get a Cape Coral question. So, Kevin, one was, the question was put up as it related to Cape Coral and Estero, and how close are they to being able to report. I didn't know that there was an answer to that given. And then the other is since the reporting or segmentation of collection is determined by the property owner's address, not the actual property address. But I'm understanding from that is if someone owned a rental property in Cape Coral but they particularly lived in Lehigh, then it would show up as a Lehigh collection, even though the property was in Cape Coral. What happens with those properties? I know in Cape Coral, I'm sure it happens in other municipalities, where it's an international owner. So the person lives in Germany, but they own 10 homes in Cape Coral. Where does that money show up?
That's a good question, because I didn't see any international areas of our account holders. So I'll have to go back and look to see how we're accounting for that. So I'll get back to Tam, and she can send that information out to the entire council. Good question on international. In regards to your first question about the individual hoteliers that may be in a particular municipality or area of the county, I left this question as it was worded on purpose because I cannot start to get nuanced about when someone may move out of the broader bucket into an individual municipality bucket based upon how the statute reads. And so what I can say is that annually we look at all the statistics and do a review about the monies coming in and the wording of the statute to determine whether we can move the municipality into its own reporting column. If you do not see the municipality listed in its own column, that is because something in the statute has prevented us from moving that bucket over, potentially because it can expose someone's taxpayer information, and that would be a violation of the statute, punishable by misdemeanor. So just know that we do our work annually. We give all that information to TAM. And so if it hasn't changed, that's because the data doesn't support the change at the time we did the look back.
Okay, and when you are doing that calculation, do you include the vacation rentals or only hotelier information?
It's every taxpayer information. It's a holistic view, not broken down by account holder type.
And when is that determination made every year?
I believe, Tam,
I assume that's what you're doing.
that's another great question. I think it's calendar year. I know my team is watching this, and so they're probably cringing a little bit, but I think it's a calendar year.
I know that in terms of highest collector, you're doing that based on fiscal year.
Okay.
So
I believe
don't know, at least that's the way that,
the group that's in tourist tax has been doing this for a very long time. Tammy and Joan have been doing this for 2 decades. They are experts in this field. Have worked with Tam for a very long time. So I trust their work. That doesn't mean we can't do 1% better. And that's kind of what I tell my team every day is like, what can we do 1% better than we did yesterday? And I certainly think we have some things in the world of tourist tax that we can do 1% better. And Tam is a fantastic person to get through those ideas with. So the big thing to remember is the property location is not currently part of the equation. I certainly think that we can put our heads together and determine whether that is a valuable first step as we work together going forward.
So Kevin, Commissioner Rain was here. We had to leave for a 10 o'clock meeting. That was one of the questions I think that's been going around for years now is, 55% of the properties are listed as real estate. Can it be broke down by municipalities, or you're limited because of statute, because of personal information? I
think it can be broken. I wonder if you can see it here. It's small. I think the answer is yes, Commissioner. We can do that. But the size of the municipality and the revenue collected within that municipality is the sticky point. And so if 33% of the revenue is indicative of a single taxpayer, we can't report that entire group because everybody's going to know who that individual taxpayer is, and I can't disclose that information. So I do think there is probably a better way for us to break these columns down. And I'm committed to doing that research for this group. But that is the historical reason of why these stats look the way that they do.
So do we need to ask for that more, or?
A lot of this is going to be system limitations. I've dove into the world of tourist tax quite heavily in the past 2 months, and a lot of this is system limitations. And so I am looking at whether we can budget for that next fiscal year so we can get a better system that will give us more granular reports. But that's another reason for how the data is presented to you all today.
This group is very, obviously, the most important people in Lee County about this process. And you, with your information, provides more information, more depth of how much your office does throughout the year for this. So thank you to your staff for all the work you do, because it's always very, very complex. We're limited in what we can do by statute, too, though. Jay, you had a question?
Kevin, I may be way in the weeds deep. If I'm an individual taxpayer and I pay my tourist tax for a property I have, do I have to report the address of the rental property?
Yes, I believe you do. Did I put a picture of I had a picture of the actual, I might have taken it out at some point because it was hard to see, but a picture of the form. Looks like I took it out, but on the registration form, you have to give us a whole bunch of information, and part of that is the address.
And if I'm now a property manager, do I have to list every address that I'm collecting for, or just give a lump sum?
It's a lump sum for all of the community. So as Councilmember Sankey was saying, if I am operating in Cape Coral and my business is in Fort Myers, when they remit the payment, that bucket of money, so to speak, from statistics is going into the account holder box of Cape Coral, not from Fort Myers.
So and I guess I'm asking the same thing Bill asked. He asked international, but I'm assuming there's people that are outside of Florida that own rental properties in the county. And
I'm not one to speculate. My job as comptroller is to do what the law says. So I have, I'm going to speculate a little bit to tell you that some of these individuals may be paying through online travel companies. And online travel companies are not giving us the account holder information. So in today's process, if you're posting your vacation rental online through one of those online travel companies, we don't have the individual taxpayer information.
Or the address.
Or the address. Now, I do think there's opportunities for us to work together on that. I do think that is something we can explore together. There are a couple of ideas that I already have that I'm working with my staff, and eventually we'll get to a point once we do our legal research of reaching out to the county attorney's office and to TAM to make sure that is in the best interest of Lee County, because there are some risks associated to online travel companies.
Okay, great. Any other questions or anything? Yes. Chris, Brady?
Would it be possible then to, instead of showing it as just one real estate line, to be able to break it out for your travel companies versus your property management versus your individual owners?
I can potentially look at that. I mean, this is something that's what I call a canned report out of the system. So this is something that the system already has, and I think that this is new probably to a lot of individuals in this room, because we don't currently put this on our website. So if what you're asking, Chris, is basically, let's pick one. Let's pick Boca Grande. What you're saying is for Boca Grande, you'd like to see a breakdown of the hotels, motels, individual property owners, and online travel company.
If you look at the report that you submit, there is one line that says real estate.
Real estate, yeah.
And within that real estate line, is there a way for you to at least break down to say, this is what we collect from travel companies, this is what we collect from property management? So just break that down a little bit more, so that would at least provide some insight as to what you're getting from a property management bucket, not breaking it down individually, versus what are you getting from the VRBOs and Airbnbs and those online. So at least there would be some distinction for this council here to understand, X amount of that revenue or that tax, that bed tax that's coming in is coming from those online service providers versus local property management or individual homeowners who are just renting their individual properties out.
Certainly something I will look into. I think that is a valuable piece of information. The question is, can we do that? And do we have a way of reporting that information? So when you think about hotels, motels, they are a fixed building. They have an address. We actually can probably do some more research on that. But online travel companies would be an account holder as well. But then you don't have all the sub information about everybody that they're renting to for that particular period. So I will definitely take that as an action item today. And I'd be happy to come present findings back to this council at a later date, or work through TAM, whatever is the pleasure of the chair.
I have one last question. Okay. As I'm looking at your active unit summary, so if you have a hotel, each room counts as a unit? Is that how that works?
I believe so. When you say each room?
Each room.
No, I don't believe so. I don't think it's going to get that granular.
I'm just trying to.
And I can clarify this with my team as well, but the way that I read this report is that in Alva, there are 19 taxpayers and 72 pieces of property associated to those 19 accounts.
Okay,
So it's not by room.
Right, I was just trying to back into the number of vacation rentals that we have in the county out of your numbers.
I don't think it's going to get that granular.
Do it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's not the way the data is, but is there a way to enhance the data so that we could do it? I think that's the question.
If this group is going to want more data, I will have to budget for a new system, and that's okay. I mean, that's not a bad thing, but
In fairness, there is a campground at Caloosahatchee Regional Park that is paying bed tax, so I don't know if that 72 units is that, but it could be.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Part of it.
Bill?
I think a significant item in here is where it says real estate agency, where there's 317 real estate agencies, that there are 19,000 properties. And to not know where those 19,000 properties are, for our purposes, we got to do something to know where that stuff is.
I agree with you. And so this is the juxtaposition between paying by person versus by property, right? So if Kevin Carnes lives in North Fort Myers and I happen to own 20 properties all throughout Lee County, when I pay my tourist tax on behalf of all 20 of those, it's going to the address that I registered at the time of creating my account. So these property management companies are in a very similar situation where they have a business and they probably do a lot of business throughout the county, and then wherever their address was that they created is where that's going. So the question is, can we do that, Councilmember Steinke? And even if we can do it, can I produce the reports back to this group? Because I am using an old system. So that's why I want to be very careful about what I'm committing to today, because I do think we can do some things procedurally and then not get the statistics to do that with my current system. So I want to make sure that I'm being very clear about what I think we can do, and then it will take us some time in order to determine whether we can accomplish the goal.
And do you need assistance from this body to authorize or to encourage a budgetary consideration to upgrade the systems that you need that you say are antiquated?
No, sir, I don't. It was really just a matter of priority in regards to everything else that I do for Lee County. I've already shared my desire with this particular department and my IT that I would likely look at this system as a replacement. This has been a system that's been in place for a long time. They're a good vendor, but I think there are better options for us to consider. So more likely than not, we will budget for a new system next year, go through a formal RFP process, and then mark on an endeavor to implement that. On average, it takes around 12 months to implement a new system. So the things that we're talking about today will have an impact, but it will be a delayed impact. So I don't think I need anything from this council in order to do that. Just your patience and your continued questions to make sure that whatever you need from our office, we can provide to you all.
Great. Thank you. Pam?
Thank you, Pam.
This is an odd question. Miramar Lakes is like the only development that's listed. Why is that?
Because it's by zip. I think this particular report, I asked her this morning, it's because it's by the zip code of the account holder. Because I had the same thing. You see a couple of like Pine Island and Matlacha and Bokeelia. I was like, that's interesting. It's all part of the same location, but it's about the zip code that they put on their application. And so then when we put that in, this little CAN report spits that out. To your point about international and out of state, great question. They might be doing real estate agencies or they might be doing online travel companies, but it's certainly something for us to confirm. Good question, Pam. Thank you.
Camera.
I mean, just to clarify, and again, it's all a matter of detail. When you see Fort Myers, that does not necessarily mean the city of Fort Myers. That means a zip code that the city printed on the letter is Fort Myers. Because I'm certain there are things in unincorporated Lee County, as a resident of unincorporated Lee County who has a Fort Myers address, So keep that in mind too. All of this is a very, very tricky conversation. Zip codes and municipalities don't always line up.
No, they don't. Very, very important distinction, Tam. Thank you for making that.
Okay, thank you.
Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time, Kevin, and thanks for being patient. Thank you for the information. Okay, we have some new business. Do we have a quorum for approve the budget?
Yes, sir, I believe we do.
Okay. First matter of business is approve the Q4 fiscal year 25
In light
budget
of
report
time,
in April.
I'm going to do this instead of asking April up. For the VCB operating budget, our budget expenditures for the year were about 94%. Next slide, please. The beach and shoreline program expenditures came in at 91%. And I'm going to speak for Jeff here. The sports development expenses came in at 95% of budget. So that's where we landed for the year. I would like to respectfully ask you accept these budget reports.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any public comment? Come back to the board. Any objection? No objection. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have to appoint the TDC vice chair. So, any nominations from the floor?
I'll renominate Jay if he's willing.
Okay, we have a nomination.
I'll second.
We have a second by Tony.
Is that voluntold?
I'll try to be here most of the time, Jay, but I should be here most of the time, so, okay. We have a second motion. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Jay, for serving again. Volunteering. Next, approve the 2026 TDC meeting dates. Tamara, you want to talk about the dates or?
For the most part, these are second Thursdays, and these are the dates we're proposing to you. We would like for you to accept this schedule and approve it.
Motion to approve the 2026 meeting schedule.
Second.
Motion. We have a second. Any other discussion? Any public comment on that? Action? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
Next, we approve of the 26 sales and marketing plan.
Last request, this is a bit of a formality as part of our accreditation. It's important that you accept the marketing plan. Of course, we rolled that out to you at the annual meeting. It is posted online. And is it in their packet, Amanda? It is in your packet as well. Sorry, I know it's a beast. So,
Make the motion to approve the 2026 sales and marketing plan.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second by Tony. Any other discussion? Any public comment? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. And now we have a special presentation.
all right. In your packets, as always, there are a ton of articles. You know, we missed a month, so apologies. I think you have about 18 or 19 articles for this month. But I think it's good reading to keep us up on what's going on with our national trends. I have one other thing that I'd like to share. I know it's been a long meeting, but I would like to announce that both Fran and Ray are retiring this month. Well, Fran officially next month, maybe Ray officially next month too, but they have a little time left. So this will be the last TDC meeting that they're at, and we do have some cake for afterwards. Everybody's probably ready for lunch,
I think
right?
Ray's, tomorrow's last.
Tomorrow is Ray's last day in the office. That is correct. Fran will be with us for a few more weeks, but Ray, they're both going. Great employees. I know you guys have worked with each of them. Fantastic people. A loss for us, certainly, but wonderful for them that they're going to get to enjoy their retirement that they've so earned. So,
Ray and Fran, stand up. Ray, stand up. Thank you, guys. I just want to personally say thank you to both of you from Lee County. You guys have been great team members, and congratulations on your retirement. We really appreciate you and everything you've done over the years. And please enjoy your life, enjoy your retirement. You definitely deserve it. So thank you. Anybody else have any discussion?
around the table.
Yeah. Tony, do you have anything?
Just beach renourishment is done, and Sanibel got their 300 1,000 cubic yards as well, from Blind Pass to Bowman, so all done. Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Anything from Forest Beach?
For the sake of time, not this time.
Okay. Pam, do you have anything?
Oh, just as always, you know, I love the holidays. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's always such a pleasure to be here with everyone, and this is my favorite work, so thank you all.
Pleasure serving. I love my time here. Thank you so much for the way you help our city, Cape Coral, develop and attract customers and come out and celebrate the new year with us at the ball drop. It is an absolute blast. If you've not been there, come to the early one, come to the late one, whatever, just come. Thanks.
Mars, have anything?
This gives me great insight coming to these meetings to help our city out. So I get more information here, which I can take back to the committee. Thank you very much for all the TDC people, DCB people. It's a real motivating factor. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
I have a couple of things real quick, just highlighting that FRLA is having their tourism days up in Tallahassee during the session, January 20th to the 21st. If you can make it up there, it's a great opportunity to support the tourism industry, and we have a great block party, which hopefully Lee County can be a part of this year. We're also have the FRLA annual golf tournament will be back in the spring of 26. And then this past October, we had the Culinary Classic that featured all of the local high schools that have culinary programs. We had a cook-off. Island Coast High School out of Cape Coral was the winner. Oasis High School came in third, so Cape had a great showing. It was great to see all the teams and all the kids get excited about cooking, and looking forward to the future for them.
Thank you. Anything from Estero?
Estero, no, but Benita Springs, yes. Which is where the Hyatt is located, by the way.
I was thinking, why isn't it? We're missing Cape Coral, I'm missing Estero.
I'm sitting in the wrong seat, but that's okay. Just a couple of things. One is Light Up Bonita, which is our holiday lighting. If you haven't been there, it's pretty amazing. As a council, we've decided to continue that. And when I say continue it, continue spending the extra money. It's certainly worth it. I was downtown last night, and in my 23 years there, I've never seen a Wednesday night where it looked like a Friday. Nothing special, just that's what's happening there. And I want to give a shout out to Mayor Allers. This is not tourist related, but Kevin put out a challenge to several of the other cities for your Cards for Our Soldiers Overseas. And I was amazed at the number of people I was contacted by from people outside our area. And I don't know what the final count was, but as a young soldier back in 1972 in a foreign country where they didn't want us there, I remember going to mail call. And you only had mail call once a week. And I thought of all the young guys that showed up at mail call and never got anything. So I looked at some of the cards that were received and the people of Lee County and people outside the county who got involved, who took the time to write letters to kids that they didn't know. So Kevin, what you did as a service to our military, I don't think you know what an impact you had, but what did Fort Myers Beach come up with? How many thousand?
Well, you're going to have to wait till tomorrow, because tomorrow is the official unveiling. I will tell you, we did much better than I was hoping for, but the final totals for all the cities, I think, will be revealed tomorrow on Jason Jones' show in the morning.
It's safe to say well over 50,000 from Lee County.
Yeah, I would say you're probably right. So I know Bonita had a great turnout. So
we did.
We didn't expect to win, although I put the challenge out there, but I think we did a pretty good showing.
Thank you.
Well, again, thank you, everybody. Have a great holiday. I just want to share, December 22nd, we're having the grand opening of South Seas. They'll be out there for ribbon cutting. So it's right 3 days before Christmas. So South Seas doing their grand opening on the 11:30 on the 22nd. So everybody, happy holidays and happy Hanukkah. Thank you. We're adjourned.
I don't think that